Okay, Libra, we're going to do your monthly reading for March. I'm just going to do a simple cross reading for you today. Okay, so you in the reading for this month, you're going to be the Six of Swords. So this really points to some movement in your life. And with the swords, this can be a lot about your perception of your thought process. This could be moving on from situations that you maybe felt were activating in the past that you're really moving through. Sometimes that can be, moving away from something that was unsettling. Sometimes it can just be the eventual, moving of time that's pushing things along. But what you can count on is that there is going to be change and movement in a situation. The crossing energy for that is going to be the Seven of Cups. So I think that points to the a little bit of the level of overwhelm of how that can feel, maybe a little too wide open for you, as in like, well, where am I going? Like I can't see the other side of where I'm heading. The Seven of Cups is always asking us to really consider our values with emotionally, spiritually, what do we want to center in our lives as far as what kind of things are most important to us, and being able to consider that is really important in understanding how we decision make based on that. If we're not basing our decision making on what things are most important to us, we can really feel unprepared in situations like this where we are on a trajectory. So this is really asking you to consider, as you're crossing energy, where are you steering the ship? Even if you can't see the eventual, outcome, which is mostly not available to us anyways, really consider, which direction you're pointing the boat. As your focus energy, you've got the Sun, which is a really beautiful centered energy of projecting out into the world what is essential to you, projecting out to the people and groups around you what is essential for you, and what not only what gives you joy, but what is generative for you. So focusing on that and focusing on knowing that and focusing on how you project that out is very rewarding. So a great focus to have as you move through this space of change in your life. Where you've come from in the recent past, it's going to be the Nine of Wands. So a difficult pursuit, something that's not quite over yet, but you've been through the ringer in. So that could be, a work pursuit, a personal pursuit, something that you've really been passionate about, that now you're looking around and seeing like, I think the cost of this may be much bigger than I thought it was going to be, or the way, the chips have fallen in this pursuit have really outpaced my expectations for how much effort I needed to put in, for how much I needed to defend myself in a certain situation. The Nine is pointing to, moving out of the Nine is really that you are on the way to putting that behind you, but to take the knowledge that you've gained from that of, what does too much look like to you, and not leaving that information in the past either, remembering and being able to look at like, okay, that's what overworking looks like to me, and keeping that information as a learning. As far as your subconscious underlying sort of thought process right now, you got the Page of Swords. So you may be chewing on a new idea that maybe hasn't hit you totally, as far as oh, this is a new thing I want, but you've got like a tiny little idea that's sort of like nipping at your heels a little bit, that could be, as you move forward in this Six of Swords energy, something that's just like a little idea that's popping in your head that could be related to that sun aspect of knowing yourself and knowing your inner centrality. It could be, you know, something that you never really considered about that, that's just becoming to light to you. Your future energy and what you're moving into is this Eight of Swords. So what this really looks like is moving in this Six of Swords future pointed direction. You really need to be aware and be cognizant of the ways that you can create barriers for yourself. With the Eight, it's all about how have you shut yourself mentally into a path that doesn't give you enough wiggle room to think on the fly, doesn't give you enough wiggle room to create new solutions, but feel like you're continually stuck in old solutions that aren't really working for you and haven't worked for you. You recognize that you haven't worked, but what really needs to happen is taking the blindfold off to be able to see, oh, I need to step out of this box that I've created around the situation. So what's, you know, what it's really asking you to do is to steer that ship into more options instead of the narrow path of limiting the mental options that you have. As far as the attitude that you have surrounding the situation, you've got the World card. So I think that you are recognizing that this movement forward is part of the end of a cycle for you. And I would say that really has a lot to do with this cup energy, of this crossing energy of not really knowing what you, or feeling like you don't know what you want to pursue in like an emotional atmosphere. I think the World card is really asking you to look at, okay, you know, you definitely don't know 100% of the answers, but look at the answers that you do have, even if they're very small, and how can you reorient yourself based on those things that you do know, even if it's one little tiny thing. How can you reorient yourself around the thing that you know in your bones that you've learned recently? That's what the world asks us to do, is to consider ourselves new as things have changed and things have closed down in a cycle. As this new person, how do you move forward? That can happen in really small situations or really big ones. But letting ourselves get overwhelmed by all the different options of like, I have to figure it all out, really forces us to even let go of the conclusions that we have gained. So we don't want to step backwards in that way. We want to at least move forward with the things that we have learned and stand on those foundations as we move forward, because we're never going to have 100% of the answers. It's just not realistic. As far as your surrounding energy, you've got the Two of Cups. So I think what this points to is really the presence of partnership that you have in this scenario. So this could be like how you are mirroring to yourself your own commitment to how you relate to different parts of yourself. The Two of Cups sometimes is about recognizing that we have different parts inside of us that are, you know, we are not monoliths of who we are, just even inside our own personalities, our own desires and tendencies can be multitudes. So to me, that Two of Cups in this type of situation is really pointing to that, like being able to integrate those different personalities that we contain into focus on how we can honor all of them. As far as hopes and fears, this Eight of Cups that we've got coming in really points to that this moving on that we're doing mentally in the Six of Swords can also point to a moving on emotionally, and that next step from the Seven that we're being presented with this month can move us into the Eight, and that is potentially pretty scary. I would say that the Eight of Cups is something to be excited and embrace, and embrace the hope side instead of the fear side, because the Eight of Cups really points us to what's next, which is the Nine of Cups, which is inner achievement and inner knowing of what we truly value and our accomplishments. So I would see that trajectory from 7 to 8 showing up here as that compass pointing to that 9 being on the horizon. So in order to make that journey, it's really about embracing that change at times, and trusting that we have the resources that we need to move through scary things, that acknowledge the fear and keep moving your feet. Our potential outcome is the Queen of Pentacles, which is really exciting and very practical. It's about having a mastery of your immediate life, your inner and your home space of knowing what your resources are and how you allocate them to create the environment that you desire, in a really practical way. So I think that can really be having a lot of this sword and cup energy in the mix of what's going on this month. This pentacle at the end, I think, really points to not needing to worry about the practical situation, even if things come up, as you work on these deeper emotional and mental sort of work that you're doing. As a result, you're going to be able to have this mastery of how you deal with your practical life. I'm going to check the bottom of the deck, just see what we have. We've got the Emperor. This really points to me that inner knowing is really going to be represented in an outer way. The Emperor is all about knowing your truth fully and representing it without a doubt to other people, knowing what your truth is and having no barrier to communicating that to other people and representing yourself as your pure truth. So I think that is a really powerful way to end this feeling of maybe overwhelm or mental anguish about understanding what the path needs to be. It's really to anchor yourself in knowing that you will be able to strategize the way that you can have the environment that you desire, and that you are going to gain further truths through this questioning and through this movement that you're going through. I'm going to grab 3 more cards just for a little bit more clarity, looking forward past March. Okay, so we've got the Witch, the Three of Wands, and the Queen of Cups. So to me, this looks like as you move through this movement in your life, sort of big things moving in March, it's really going to speak to you about once you gain this outer clarity of representing yourself and your truth, it's going to pull you back into an inner knowing, an inner reveal with this High Priestess giving you this inner knowing and reveal of something that may have been confusing in the past. And the Three of Wands and Queen of Cups supporting that and knowing that you have this double queen ability to take care of your inner life and your immediate home anchoring, that's going to give you the power to move ahead in this wand energy into something that you're passionate about pursuing, that may have been waiting for you to have this confidence level and this mastery level, and that it's about you knowing that internally that'll help you move forward.